Hello everyone. In our previous video, we have discussed about the chapter 1.2, an encounter of a special kind. In that video, we have seen that writer was reading a magazine into his puja vacation and he heard some noise, and which was due to a scene created there by a male langur who wanted to kill a baby langur of his community. And the writer tried to escape the baby langur. He started to throw the stones, and thereafter what happened? Now we are going to see what happened next. This is second part of the chapter and page number 10, third para. I took the baby langur to our backyard and gently laid him on the floor inside the poultry coop. His body was full of deep bite marks and scratched. Blood was oozing from some of the wounds. The baby remained motionless. My father provided first aid to clean the wounds and stop the bleeding. I was relieved to find that the baby was breathing even though his breaths were shallow. So my dear friends, what happened? The writer took the baby langur to his backyard, and there his father given him a first aid, and because the baby langur's body was totally injured because of scratches of the nails of the male langur, and he was now motionless, but his breathing were going on. He was alive, and the writer became relieved by knowing that the baby langur is alive at that time, while his breaths were very shallow. Splashes of cold water made the baby stir, and after a few shaky attempts, he sat up. He was in a state of shock, started trembling like a leaf in the wind. His two little twinkling eyes welled up with tears, and he started to sob with a muffled cry, just like a human child would after experiencing a trauma. I offered him a pleat banana, which he accepted with his unsteady hand and began taking hesitant bites. So my dear friend, writer and his father gave the baby langur first aid, and thereafter these splashes of cold water made the baby stir, and after a few shaky attempts, he sat up. He was too much afraid because of the attack of male langur, and after some time he made himself steady, but he sat up, and he was very much shocked because of this attack. He was trembling, and the writer offered him a peeled banana, and the monkey very hesitantly caught that and tried to eat, and just like a human baby, the baby langur was crying with a very muffled, a very suppressed noise, because he was too much afraid because of the incident what he faced with the male langur. My attention was fixed on the revival of the baby langur. Suddenly I had an uncanny feeling of being watched. I turned away from the coop and looked up. There sat the mother langur on our kitchen roof, watching every move I made. She simply sat there quietly, as if convinced that no harm was being done to her child. Meanwhile, the baby sensed the presence of his mother and started to sob and cry a little louder. I retreated from the door of the coop to allow the mother access to her baby. So what happened? They tried to make the baby langur normal, and they seen that there was the mother of the baby langur was sitting on the roof of the kitchen, and she was watching all the scene, and she became convinced that the baby is now safe and in very secured hands. And in that moment the baby langur also known the presence of his mother, and then he started sobbing and crying, because it is just like a scene of a human baby. When a baby know that the mother is present, then they starts to cry and sob to make themselves safer. So at that situation, the baby langur started crying, and the mother was sitting there and watching all the scene, and she became convinced that her child is now safe, he is now out of danger. So what happened next? What the mother wanted to do? Did she left her child at that situation, or she kept her child with her? What happened next? We will see into the next part. Till then, you have to understand the particular chapters.